Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
The use of cryptocurrencies in the U.S. is forecasted to rise by 70% in 2022. Now, that's one hell of a number here. I have to tell you, when I see that, I see people flocking to what feels like more of a safe haven, understanding the inflation and possibly the stagflation that is about to find us. And it is no mistake that people start looking for different assets like cryptocurrencies and digital assets to be able to use for their purchases, transactions, and to hedge. Right here, major German bank applies for crypto custody license. Its Commerce Bank joins a list of 21 others pushing for a crypto custody license in Germany. Now, Germany, I know a lot of people in Germany are like, hey, we're not that far ahead, but you're a lot further ahead than you are in the United States. So good on them there. There's no doubt about it. Former Goldman Sachs executive, certainly somebody I have a lot of respect for, Raoul Pal, says that the changes in the global market conditions could set off the next bull run for Bitcoin. And I tell you, I think this is all speaking to what we just covered about the inflation and possible stagflation, and how people are going to look for those areas of high ground that they can get into to either make money or hedge their loss from the traditional conventional markets. Let's take a look at this. There was just recently a global conference, a spring meeting with the IMF, for which it was European Central Bank former managing director of the IMF, Christine Lagarde, now the president of the ECB, Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, and Kristalina Georgieva, the current IMF director, and many others. But we're going to look through this thread, and I'm going to play you some videos here that really set the tone. The IMF director is going to give you what the current state is and just how bad it is. Tur de Meister here says, I followed the IMF for 15 years now, and this is the most impressed I've been by any of their live press events, and it was impressive. Some rare truths were shared on a panel in front of ECB's Christine Lagarde and Fed Chair Jerome Powell. The truth teller in question was Kristalina Georgieva, which you're about to hear in a second, the new managing director at the IMF. She grew up in and obtained her PhD in communist Bulgaria, did research at London School of Economics and MIT. She co-authored over 100 papers and previously was at the World Bank president and CEO. This is her right here in this first clip here I want to play you that he has set up for us. And shout out to Tur de Meister here. It says, Mr. Georgieva shares some hard facts, which is quite rare in itself for a spokesman from the IMF institutions. She talks about the exploding government debt levels. Now, this speaks to what do you do in this situation when the paper fiat money of the world, certainly the global reserve currency, the US dollar, has been so overprinted that there's a devaluing coming. And we're going to talk about that in the SDR basket in just a moment. But listen to her remarks here.
First one is the issue of debt. In 2020, debt levels have jumped for an understandable reason, to put a floor under the economy. Largest increase since the Second World War in 1 year.
Wow.
In 21, it was easy because interest rates were low, access to financing abundant. For some, it was cheaper to pay for more debt in 21 because of this drop in interest rates.
There you go. Now, here is a quick clip that I want to play for you also. She goes on to clarify that they were basically looking at sovereign bond defaults. Many governments are staring in the face of bankruptcy, and investors will have to accept a haircut on their government bond portfolios. This is what she means with restructured debt, and it's exactly what she means, and you need to hear this. Now, I have done video after video on this exact thing. A global reset, a debt jubilee, Nasara Jasara, where you have to figure out who's going to take the haircut as the bondholder on the debt in order to have what would be considered a great reset, or even further, a new Bretton Woods moment, for which she has called for as well. Take a quick listen.
We have to help countries restructure debt early.
There it is.
And if we don't, down the road this year, we may be in a very difficult place. You talked about the 50 basic points. Just imagine what it means for emerging economies if on top of it their currency depreciates, which is also possible, and capital starts seeking the comfort of coming here to the United States.
Now listen to what she just said. She talked about the debt restructuring, which is absolutely somebody taking a haircut on government bonds in their portfolio. Then she talked about the devaluing of currencies. And this is going to come into play in just a few more moments here, so I want to take you through it. Now, here in this particular clip, after talking with some exogenous shocks with some outside factors like the pandemic and the Ukraine war with Russia, and Georgieva points out how governments have failed to pay down debt when they could afford to. Take a quick listen.
The second issue, though, is that not all problems are exogenous. We still have plenty of problems that come because of poor judgment, bad governance, corruption. When Christine was the managing director here in 2018, early 2019, in these good days that we almost forgot existed, she would say, when the sun is shining, fix the roof. Mm-hmm. What we are now discovering is that many countries did not fix the roof when the sun is shining. Now it is pouring.
And there you have it right there. That is calling everybody to carpet right there. And here is where we're getting into this clip here where he says, before I show you this last and most important clip, I think it's relevant to know that Ms. Georgieva likely had family that lived in Bulgaria's hyperinflation in 1996. I suspect the experience informed her what she said on the panel during the last moments of the show. Georgieva, the last speaker, spoke a truth rarely spoken in as an official live IMF setting. Namely, institutions are often short-sighted and the monetary stimulus programs have the unintended consequences of inflation. Listen very quickly here.
Think through what may happen that is not our objective. And then we wrestle with the impact of it. Take any decision that is a massive decision, like the decision that we need to spend to support the economy. At that time, we did recognize that may lead to too much money in circulation, too few goods.
And that right there tells you a great way of how you could have hyperinflation lead to stagflation, right? And the devaluing of the global reserve currency, the US dollar.
But didn't really quite think through the consequence in a way that upfront would have informed better.
And I happen to disagree with that comment. I believe that there's no way that any one of those people at that level of that job and representation of where they are in their professional careers do not understand what printing $10 trillion would absolutely do as an adverse effect to the global economy and the global reserve currency, the US dollar. In fact, I have said many times, I think not only did they print the money through the pandemic and the liquidity crisis that existed before the pandemic happened, but I also clearly believe, that they were pricing in what they understand to be a revaluation of the US dollar, or devaluation, I should say, and even pricing in a bankruptcy globally. We will find out. But let's take a look at this.
I'm your guy. I will keep you posted. I'm your advocate. I'll be back on a daily basis, usually multiple times per day, with these videos to keep you updated with everything going on. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of my videos with your friends, family, social media, or anybody who may care to listen. Thanks so much for your continued support. I'm always here for you. I want to help you through this time. So thank you so much for continuing to choose me. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you again probably in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. See you later.